Hi, everybody. I have been looking to teach children again now that I'm post-op from bilateral hip replacements. And so this summer I started looking and investigating different places that I could teach children, especially small children through, ages 12. And I came across an interview process that really has me feeling some kind of way. So if you are not a dance instructor, a professional movement with children and teens person, if you don't teach yoga or dance to kids, then this might not interest you. Keep scrolling. I'll wait. And then for all of you that are maybe younger dancers, learning how to assistant teach, moving into teaching, I just want to share with you my words of wisdom from many, many years of teaching. One thing that you need to know about me is I am extremely particular, extremely protective, and extremely defensive about what happens when I'm teaching children and the elderly. Those are two extremes in ages, but they are our most precious population. And so in this opportunity to find and add additional classes working with kids teaching dance and or yoga through the school season, I came across a very corporate position, and I won't name names, but it's a very corporate job. And initially I was told that, they had their own protocol, but that I was free to teach whatever. And then I found out kind of as I went through this litmus test of one lie after another lie after another lie of where maybe their values just weren't centered where I feel they should be. And I feel a responsibility as a dance educator, a movement educator, someone that works with literally ages 2.5 to grandparents, to give those of you that are coming up in the ranks, working with children, with teens, with young adults, and or teeny tiny kids, of things that I think are precious to notice and take heed. So the first thing in this particular corporate setting is you have teachers that are not student teachers. These are women that have graduated high school, they're in college, they're out of college, they might be old ladies like me, interested in teaching. And we refer to the children, or they refer to the children as friend. Hi friend, come on into class friend. I think that's appropriate if you are closer to the age of your students, but calling your teachers friends doesn't really set the stage for the beautiful truth of what can be a mentorship, of someone that we can look up to, someone that we can trust and confide in if there are dangers, someone that we look at as an adult authority that kind of keeps the class safe. So that's my first caveat. In the dance world, even when I'm teaching yoga, we have kind of lost an essence of some traditional aspects of culture and respect. And while a lot of children don't say, yes ma'am, no ma'am, I was raised in dance class that when you're teaching little people or adult people, that we call them ladies and gentlemen. We don't necessarily call them girls and boys or kids, but we call them ladies and gentlemen. It starts to teach them maybe a skill that they want to emulate of acting like a lady and acting like a gentleman and being just a good human being, versus kind of washing that away with, hi friend. It's great to have friends, but if you're teaching these kids year after year, you want them to be able to understand what is a healthy mentorship, so that as they're growing and evolving in life, they can look at those relationships for insight, for wisdom, for training. If we're all just friends here, even though there's such an age discrepancy, it could potentially put a pedophile at an easier level of access to your child, because the child isn't learning that this is the person that controls the class environment. They're the head of the class, not in a domineering kind of way, but in a way that is giving them respect for being the teacher, just as the teacher gives respect to the children for taking class. We have a beautiful thing in dance class at the end of dance called reverence, and in a nutshell, it's our goodbye dance. It's where we as teachers are bowing to the students and thanking them for their time and their openness to our tutelage, and it's a time where the students get to bow and we get to clap for each other of thanking their teacher, their mentor, for taking the time to instruct them. And I think that that's just really important across really all parameters of teaching, but I'm making this video specific for what I do for a living: yoga, dance, mindful movement, meditation. Now, the other thing that I have an issue with is secret telling. Telling children to keep secrets, in my opinion, is a horrific no-no. I never want any of my kids to ever think that telling secrets is okay, keeping secrets is okay, and that I'm going to be the person giving them secrets to keep. Again, this just is a big red flag of training your children toward predation in the future. What do I mean by this? So, for example, sometimes in dance class, we have a little piece of tape on the floor for the kids to dance on so that they're spaced out and nobody accidentally gets kicked or slapped in the face when they're dancing. It teaches children their own proprioception of their body. This is my body and this is my dance space, and I can utilize all this area in my dance space. Well, in one of these particular corporate classes that I was observing and co-teaching to see about this potential opportunity, repetitiously, the young ladies teaching the class were trained to say, your dance spot is a secret. Hide your secret by stepping on your dance spot. And I'm thinking, why in the good Lord's name would you ever tell a child that A, something you're doing in class is meant to be a secret, and B, hide something during class, period. Again, never would I ever want any of my kids to be keeping secrets, hiding secrets, thinking I'm the secret giver, or thinking that they have to hold the secrets. I want my kids that, God forbid, if they are ever going through anything at home that is horrific nightmare, that they will be able to have the openness to be able to come and talk to me about that, so that maybe I can in some way, through the right course of action, get that child help. This isn't a big secret if you're someone like me, but usually I will see child abuse very quickly because I'm seeing kids basically in a leotard and tights, bruises, seeing things in their body where maybe they're injured and they're trying to move. We do unfortunately see these things. It has been rare in my career, but I have seen those things. And all of my amazing teachers taught me at the tender age of 12, Erica, if you see children being abused, these are the things you're going to look for, and then you're going to tell the appropriate authorities. So again, I was not raised while I was being taught, or while I was being taught in how to teach, to make children keep secrets. And then at the end of the class, this particular corporation has a lingo of having the children lean in and having the teacher say, I want to tell you a secret. And when you leave dance class, you're going to go up to your mommy and your daddy and you're going to thank them for bringing you to dance class. Let me tell you the problem that I have with that. As someone that teaches yoga and mindfulness in school systems, in private situations, in studio situations, there is a much better way to teach children and or teens the state of gratitude. Teaching them gratitude in a way that does not promote this secretness. Also, it's very manipulative. I get that it's a marketing ploy, because if your little children go out and tell mommy and daddy, I had so much fun in dance class, thanks for bringing me, I can't wait to go back next week. Well, you're manipulating a child to manipulate the parent, and maybe some would call that good marketing. I think that there are better ways to do it, and I think you can definitely do that without using the secret. phrasing. So maybe you approach that by saying, I'm so glad you came to dance class today. I enjoyed you being a beautiful ballerina with me in class. And I encourage you to, when you see your mommy and daddy at the end of class, thank them for bringing you to ballerina class or to dance class. But I would not ever make them think it's a secret I'm telling them, or make them think it's something that they keep internally and then just tell the parent the staged line that they've been given week after week. And as a clinical hypnotherapist, obviously I'm well versed in the power of suggestion. But again, are we suggesting things to the children just to market and manipulate the parents for our own financial gain? Or are we really instilling healthy, positive, character building qualities for children? So if you've been one of my kids that's ever been in my class and you've gone on to teach, you've already heard this spiel before. But this is just a reminder for those kids that are mentoring you that you're teaching. Help build the climate of your class so that you're a positive mentor. And sometimes positive mentors, we have to, teach with tough love. If you have ever been in my class, I usually don't have kids chew gum in my class because this is my one-liner. Miss Erica loves you so much that if you come into my class chewing gum and you choke, I will crack a few ribs to save your life. And let me tell you, they never chew gum in my class again. They might be like, man, that Missy is so crazy, but they get it. If you have children that have disciplinary issues, you can be angry, you can scream and yell, or you can just set up the expectation that this is what's expected, especially when we get into teenage years, preteen and teenage years where kids are older. They really understand what they're doing and how to be properly acting in their classes within reason. And you have to, as a teacher, we have to be flexible around holidays when kids have had sugar. Like I always felt bad in the school systems because all those school teachers really suffer when kids go back from Halloween or Christmas jacked up on all the sugar. But in dance class, that just means we're doing jumps, and I will use that energy and manipulate it in a positive aspect to help that kid flush all that out of their body, get good movement happening in their body. And then when that kid goes home, they're more manageable to their family. But there are just so many ways of when kids get older and they act inappropriately to say, drop and give me 10 push-ups, 20 push-ups, because in the ballet, the dance world, you're still using that time constructively with something that's building their body in a therapeutic way, but yet it's being done in a way that is also letting them know there is a consequence to this negative behavior, disruptive behavior in class. So I just kind of want to start a conversation about this. If you have children taking dance class and you've not really noticed these things being said, that's wonderful. But if you're noticing these things and you feel that there needs to be a shift in the culture at your studio, hey, start a conversation, spark a conversation. I never want any child, preteen, teenager, or young adult to ever feel that I'm telling them secrets and that I am on the same level of them in a friendship that they can't come to me if they're having problems. I want them to see me as a positive mentor that loves and cares for their well-being, and then I can take the steps appropriate within my scope of practice to see that that child is being monitored and in a safe environment. So please help me help others by just finding these clearer lines of communication. I love things that are new. I love learning. Just because I've been around the block and I've been teaching since the age of 12 and I'm literally 52, you can teach an old dog new tricks, but I think we have to look at what is still valid from what's been done time and time again, where there are new trends or new ways of languaging things, changing behaviors to keep up with the sign of the times, but where we really have to find that balance and getting really clear with what are our intentions of why we're saying what we're saying in our class, how we're saying it in our class, how it's being perceived and projected, not only to the student, but to the parents, to the families. So happy dancing. And hey, by the way, if you've lasted this long, I do have a couple openings in my schedule, especially for during the day classes, if you would like instruction with your children and Miss Erica. So I hope you have a wonderful upcoming dance year, and I hope that you and your children stay safe. And with that, namaste.